seeing. And
so Dr. Bawumia was sidelined.
Oh, please. Who doesn't know this?
By whom?
By the president and his cousin, of course. What did you see?
By Akufo-Addo and Ken Ofori-Atta.
In the running of the economy. He was not in charge at all.
How do you know this?
Well, at least I could see what happened when I was in the cabinet, and I could see also what happened when I was outside the cabinet. I'm not here to wash our dirty in the public, but show one record that Bawumia was the one who was trying to overhaul the exchange rate, and he failed. Do you know what was happening at that time?
Gold for oil was to overhaul the exchange rate, but we ended at $14 dollar. Now the NDC is on 10.
Do you know whether somebody wanted to that the system should operate full throttle, or it was like, if it's coming from Bawumia, let's not glorify it? Do you understand what is happening?
Are you suggesting that there was some undermining of the gold for oil policy?
Oh, goodness me. But how much money was released from the Bank of Ghana that we should buy gold when Bawumia was vice president? Let's do statistics and you see that do not say a man should be pregnant. It's a cruel argument. Holding already formed whilst he get power. Power will magnify your wisdom.
Is it not about choices of people's capabilities rather than their disposition?
What capabilities are you talking about?
Ability to create jobs, ability to unite people, ability to work with a broad range of people. Is that not the choice level dynamics? Is it rather disposition? He gets angry quickly and he has a bad temper, and which is which? Or do all matter?
It's a whole array of virtues or vices, and you should bear that in mind. But when you're trying to talk about the one that all the elements mixing him so well, and you are now talking about Bawumia. First of all, emotional maturity, shock absorbers, presidential exposure, international appeal. The one that the NDC, very fond of propaganda, has not dented his character. The one that in the face of the COVID and all the challenges of Ukraine-Russia war, he was able to garner 41.7%. So when people want to talk about the fact that Bawumia is a write-off and that we shouldn't repeat him, it doesn't make arithmetical sense. Because if in the face of the serious matters, I don't believe that President Akufo confronted COVID and the rest of them.
No, he didn't.
He didn't. Russia-Ukraine war. So in the midst of the mess
and Ofori-Atta's DEEP,
those kind of things, touching on people's pension fund and CJ picketing and the rest of it, and people talking about, why are you trying to deceive the Christendom? That you bring out one of the world-class cathedral only for them to see a hole. So when it was terribly bad, he garnered 41.7%. Kufuor's debut was what? 39%. So therefore, if we should do a top-up.
But Kufuor's debut, Kufuor was not coming from. He was 39% was higher than what the MPP had got in 1992. Yeah. This is an MPP that is coming from 53% of the last vote. Naturally, it is expected that the ruling party looking for a third term will perhaps lose some more. And so they hope that they can cross 50% plus one. If not, the election is going into a second round. That's what most ruling parties hinge on. That's what a party that's looking for a third term, that's how they see themselves. Now they come into the election and they're coming from 52% or so of the last election to 41%.
But for the personality of the man, it would have been worse. I could tell you.
Why would it have been worse?
For the simple reason that the kind of terrible situations he found himself in, I don't see anybody who is contesting an election and the circumstances were that terrible as Bawumia. Just mention from our journey in 1996 to date. Look, it was a whole referendum on what happened during the 8 years of the previous government.
We've been there before, haven't we? In 2008, we were there. President Kufuor in 2008 was going through not a big economic crisis, but a global, the American subprime borrowing had spiraled the global economic situation. President Kufuor had to be on TV to announce the price of rice. There was a big problem with taxi drivers, most of whom were MPP voters, who were arrested by the police and put in a Sawan prison for one reason or the other. 2 weeks to the election, there were some other, macro difficulties with the Akufo administration. The NDC had campaigned against the MPP on corruption. That corruption was rife. 17 MPP leaders had tried to be leader, and they called them the 17 thieves, and it sort of resonated with the people. Quite a difficult situation for Akufo-Addo to confront. Yet, 49.8 something percent.
I can tell you that the measurement is wrong and the situations do not compare. I could tell you the gospel truth, that when they did the analysis of why we lost the election, nobody was able to pinpoint the personality of Dr. Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia as the reason why we lost. In fact, they fingered the governance of the 8 years as the chief reason why we lost. And I'm trying to show by arithmetic that even when it was terribly bad, the persona of the man was so attractive that he got 41.7%. And therefore, common sense would dictate that, why don't you fill them again? As the historical record is showing that the first timers normally will not make it. And then add 9% to 41.7%, and then cross 50 to the 50+1, and you have a new president. This has become so important, having regard to the fact that NDC is going to have an internecine warfare. I'm telling you that they're going to bring a new man. By the time they market the new man, measured against Bawumia, who is already marketed, and the figures are in his favor to the point that if we bond and we don't undermine his bid to become president, I'm telling you that there's nobody that you bring from NDC who have the national appeal and the electoral appeal more than Bawumia. If you said it doesn't matter and what is chopped should be 0 rated, and let's start with new people, that now the NDC are going to use all the propaganda and all that the people have done previously against them. My brother, it's a lottery that MPP should not get involved. And I'm telling you the truth, the nation also is ready to have a man who is tried and tested.
What if somebody tells you that this bad record of the last 8 years that you say was perhaps the most outstanding, notable reason for the MPP's defeat is still in the minds of Ghanaians, and it might not be washed away by 2028. For that reason, the MPP should choose a candidate who was not part of that bad record. Muhammadu Bawumia was a vice president and therefore an integral part of this poor record. And so people will tell you, we don't want those who were part of the record. We want somebody who was outside that one.
The first argument which we should look at, that let's start from ground zero, if we go by what we are saying, understand? The so-called bad record, you see, I'm telling you that there's evidential support that it was not because of Bawumia. I want to stress that. And people should not say, oh, Bawumia was in charge of the economy. I've heard J. June arguments that he was in charge of the economy. And then I flip it. When the 90 or so MPs wanted to kick out my good friend Atta from office because they believe that he's mismanaged the economy, you understand? That is the clearest indication as to who was responsible for the economy. There's no dispute about it. We never had a situation where the 90 plus MPs were saying that let's pass a vote of no confidence in Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia as the vice president. And then when they take the budget to the parliament, the budget is brought in the name of the president of the day, and it's the finance minister who goes through it, or anybody of his choice, like majority leader, one of the days read the budget. So please.
But if somebody tells you, Atta, that it was Muhammadu Bawumia who told the general public that he had sorted out the exchange rate problem in 2017, locked up the rise of the dollar, and handed over the keys to the IGP. He told Ghanaians that. In addition, Muhammadu Bawumia is the only vice president who has attended the presentation of every single budget except 2024. He's thrown himself in as a big part of the NPP's economic renaissance credentials. So he's the NPP's economic renaissance candidate.
Paul.
And he had achieved some significant success in 2018, 2019, 2020. The improvement of the economy was attributed to Muhammadu Bawumia's ideas. This digitalization that comes across, this is Muhammadu Bawumia's idea. We've all said that. Gold for oil. Till now, we're still saying, and the NDC had admitted that they are benefiting from Muhammadu Bawumia's idea. So this was not a pedestrian part of the Akufo-Addo economic roundtable. This was a key actor in it. If we are saying that the economic situation, including the DEP, is part of the MPP's defeat, surely Muhammadu Bawumia cannot excuse himself from that process. But there are others who can say, I wasn't part of it.
Let me be very, very, very upfront with you and some of the people who believe that, if we succeed in blaming Bawumia for the economic woes of Ghana because he was a vice president, then will become significant. And so this is the Asing song, They do not have any presidential significance unless they keep saying this all the time and lower Bawumia because he was in charge of the economy. He was not in charge of the economy. Let me tell you, the space that Akufo-Addo gave him, he performed.
Which space was this?
Well, all that you want to talk about, whether or not we should go digital, whether we should have the address system, whether we should have the drones and the rest of them. But if Akufo-Addo, didn't give him the opportunity to look at whether going to the bonds market, is the way to run a good economy, and he gave it to his cousin, who went to the bond market a lot, and even that was not enough, and would tap domestic funds of individuals and the rest of it. How do you blame Bawumia for it? When we were talking about the Renaissance, you could see that he used to come to Parliament and then try to aid the finance minister in what he was doing. When they were reading the budget, he stopped. Because now the finance minister wanted to do what they want to do. So you could see people compare Akufo-Addo's first term in government, and then when it became wayward, that look, the one who understands the economy the most has been sidelined, and Ken was doing what he wanted to do. The result is what we are seeing. And
so Dr. Bawumia was sidelined.
Oh, please. Who doesn't know this?
By whom?
By the president and his cousin, of course. What did you see?
By Akufo-Addo and Ken Ofori-Atta.
In the running of the economy. He was not in charge at all.
How do you know this?
Well, at least I could see what happened when I was in the cabinet, and I could see also what happened when I was outside the cabinet. I'm not here to wash our dirty linen in public, but show one record that Bawumia was the one who was trying to overhaul the exchange rate, and he failed. Do you know what was happening at that time?
Gold for oil was to overhaul the exchange rate, but we ended at $14 per dollar. Now the NDC is on 10.
Do you know whether somebody wanted to that the system should operate full throttle, or it was like, if it's coming from Bawumia, let's not glorify it? Do you understand what is happening?
Are you suggesting that there was some undermining of the gold for oil policy?
Oh, goodness me. But how much money was released from the Bank of Ghana that we should buy gold when Bawumia was vice president? Let's do statistics and you see that do not say a man should be pregnant. It's a cruel argument. When he hasn't gotten the wherewithal, a man has no womb to be pregnant.
What's the point?
The point I'm making is that there is no evidence that huge largesse of resources were given to Bawumia to run the economy and he blew it. There is no...
Nobody's saying that. Are people saying that?
But what is it that you are talking about?
They are talking about he being the chairman of the economic management team.
What economic management
team? And that is expected to lead the economic renaissance.
Was there an economic management team that was trying to, drive the economy and direct Ken?
Dr. Bawumia is the one who introduced...
No, if it was so, the MPs have eyes to see. They say, look, this bad manager of the economy, Bawumia should go. What did they say?
Bawumia cannot go on the MPs by the law.
Resign.
No, well, okay, they could have called for his resignation. Yeah, they could have called for his resignation.
In fact,
but they were calling for the dismissal of Ken, not his resignation.
Well, and look at even the NDC MPs. They want the censure.
Yes.
Why? Who was responsible for the economy and who has to be censured?
It was Dr. Bawumia who gave the general public the list of the very fantastic actors at the economic management team. Jan Bafo, Alan Chemate. It was Dr. Bawumia who said.
We'll find out from them whether it was in name or it was in function and who was actually in charge. You see,
why didn't we hear all of these things?
Because he's a decent man. He will not wash the dirty linen of the government in public. As some people that if you pinch them, they will say some unprintable things. And do not punish a decent man and convert it to cowardice. I'm the one who is a macho. You want somebody who will speak out. Speak out what? Is it everything that you speak out? If he was cool and had a shock absorber, so we have the common will for the sake of Akufo-Addo's government, excuse me to say, not having an explosion from within. We should give him credit that we have a very solid man, tried and tested, resilient man, a man who can suffer under pain is a strong man, not the one when a little pain is around and he's shouting to the rooftops. This is a quality man. We shouldn't get this in for anybody and go and play lottery with people that now NDC is going to find all the cannon fodder they've created in videos to come and play it over. NDC is not going to do any serious election when some people are elected by, MPP. You should bear that in mind.
You sound very convincing on Mahamudu Bawumia's disposition, his loyalty to the MPP, his loyalty to the Akufo-Addo government in terms of taking what you describe as some very heavy punches. And things that could even have affected his own credibility, he swallowed it up just for the sake of the party and the sake of the many.
And the nation. Yes. You remember, you had a very interesting scenario between Akyea and Rawlings. You understand? Some insiders were even talking about if they were not careful, they could have blows. So why do you believe Ghanaians should not reward a decent man?
Did he get into the danger of Rawlings and Akyea?
Oh, beyond measure.
What are you saying? Rawlings and Akyea was about fisticuffs.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Did anything happen around Mahamudu Bawumia when he was vice president?
Oh, a lot of things happened.
Fisticuffs?
Oh, no, it never happened because he had the temperament to be the vice president. He was called to help. If his help was not needed, it wouldn't mean that go and sit in Peace FM and begin to blurt it out that there will be a showdown. A showdown between...
you mean Dr. Bawumia had the diplomacy to stomach difficulties?
Oh, my goodness.
That's the point you're making.
Oh, and he has it more than anybody I've seen in the race. Yes, there's no dispute about it. The kind of, issues he's being confronted with and how he stood tall. Nevertheless, in the midst of all the problems we went through, it was not a zero-rated presidential candidate and garnered 41.7. I think arithmetic alone is common sense to dawn on everybody that let's repeat him, let's work together hard, and then if we should add 9 percentage points to what he got, we will cross the 50+1, and the next president will be him.
I have an important message here. It says that Honorable Atta's greatest strength is also his greatest weakness, his deep sense of loyalty. It is admirable, but in this moment, it clouds the cold electoral calculation before us. He remains my political father in whom I'm very well pleased, and I've shared my thoughts with him privately. Would you know who that is?
I can't be sure. What did he tell me?
President Kufuor
was eminently sensible and I ignored it.
No, he says that your deep sense of loyalty is also your weakness and some calculation, something.
No, it's not just loyalty. The factors are in favor of Bawumia. We shouldn't ignore it. And we shouldn't play lottery with what is already, marketed and what is already attractive and what has international appeal and the one who has no dent on his career. 60 years the line. You don't know the kind of packaging they have for those who want to become flag bearers. So we shouldn't gamble.
Okay, let me move on to this one. Atta is firing fearlessly and he's separating Bawumia from Ken Ofori-Atta. He's making sense of the fact that Ken who was running Akufo-Addo's economy and not Bawumia. Well, let's see.
But Paul, you know that, don't you?
Asking myself.
Of course.
Are you telling me?
You've written a book about politics.
Samuel Brian Boabin says Dr. Bawumia is a decent man, but the likes of Atta, Opariansa, Akyea Schwarzenegger, and Coker are damaging his campaign. They appear more focused on attacking Honorable Ken Agyapong than on projecting his vision and leadership. Likewise, the loose cannons of Honorable Ken's side, including Alex Tete, Usu Bempa, and others, must also stand down because the next election will not be easy. All is not well with the MPP. That's from Samuel Brian Boabing. Somebody says you people are attacking Ken rather than projecting Bawumia.
Have I? Yes. The whole point of the matter is that we are doing comparative analysis. People don't know that. Nobody doubts the competence of Dr. Bawumia, but who is he competing with?
His vision.
It is so important. If you didn't do comparative analysis, then you don't know what politics is all about. What we want to say that who doubts the competence of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia? Who doubts his incorruptibility and his sense of life and his political career up to date? Who doubts it? And who can say that, oh, he's zero rated compared to the people who are not known? And what we did for Kufuor is important. What they did for Akufo-Addo is important.
In terms of repeating the candidate.
Of course. That is the history of our great party, that the first timers sometimes will not make it. And it behoves on us that let's repeat them. And when you do repeat them, they'll make it. That is all there is about. But if you say that, look, somebody is so loyal, he's seeing Bawumia as the only person we should consider, and then we ignore the arithmetic and say, let's go and start from ground zero. Oh, that's pathetic.
Let me just summarize what I think you've been saying, then we go to Ella for the messages now. So what the point you're making is that the MPP historically, except Dubois, have always maintained the candidates. So you think that trajectory should go on. Those who respond to it say that, well, all of those candidates have given us a significant reason why we should repeat them, and that is the amount of votes that they got. It has always encouraged us from the last election. This Bawumia's own is not like that. Your response is that, yes, Bawumia's own may not be like that in the figures, but compare the catastrophe that Bawumia had to go through as a candidate and all the other candidates. Bawumia's situation was worse. That if, in fact, it wasn't for him, Bawumia, as a good candidate, we would not have gotten 41%.
That would have been terrible. But let me also say that Kufuor's debut was less than what Bawumia got.
But Kufuor's debut was an improvement of the last election. Bawumia's is not an improvement.
No, let me tell you why we should look at it from that perspective. You understand? When it started, I mean, I think his strength was against Rawlings. What did he get? 39, is that not so? Of course. And we got 41.7 in the midst of the turmoil.
Kufuor was the opposition candidate. Rawlings was we were the government candidate.
Did you hear MP people saying that we feel that we're in opposition, we won't go and vote? The scenario with Kufuor, did you hear MP people in Kumasi saying we won't go and vote?
No, they voted.
Because they voted.
Yeah.
But here we are, the pinch of the economy and what they saw as the pain of being in government by your opposition in terms of benefit and comfort. They said they won't go and vote. In the midst of the apathy, the man garnered 41.7. What a powerful personality this man is. And why do you want to discount that?
After the text, I'll be asking you about questions people talk about the data, that this is the first time that parliamentary candidates did more than him. He got 0 in certain places. The apathy was as a result of he not being able to connect, and you just heard Yabuafo talk about something he saw, people not running after him spontaneously, etc., etc. I'll come so we deal with that before we conclude, but let me go to Ella. What are people saying?
All right, there seems to be a battle in the comment sections about Dr. Bawumia and Mr. Ken on who is going to be the flag bearer for the NPP. Agyapong says, in the first term of the NPP, we heard from Dr. Bawumia that he is leading the economy management team, but we did not hear same from him in the second term. So it is false for people to say Dr. Bawumia was the leader of the economy management team in the second term because he communicated that only in the first term. This one is from Steve. He says, Bawumia is the right person to lead. The MPP people should rally behind him. He can transform Ghana, very hardworking and very selfless. Rich Golden says, I like how the young lawyer talks. He seems very intelligent, but he is ethnic and a religious bigot. He expresses some air of superiority because he is an Ashanti. The fact that anyone can campaign for Kennedy, for me, casts a judgment deficit for that person. Abdul Aziz says, Mr. Paul, please draw the attention of the lawyer that he should check his record. Kennedy Agyapong rather made tribal comments at Chebi, including during the Akan delegates to reject minorities. A comment rightly criticized as a tribal rhetoric. Mr. Agyapong urged Akans to rise up and reject minority tribes in the country to claim that he is described as their rightful place as the NPP flag bearer. Master Planner says it's always refreshing listening to Lawyer Atta. Team DMB talks with facts and figures. 16 days more to go. Dear NPP delegates, let's not make a mistake. Vote number 3 on the ballot paper. Dr. Bawumia, all the way. Also from Co-General, he says, Dr. Bawumia has come to solve our economic woes, which is currently being solved by Akufo-Addo, and Ghanaians don't need his service anymore. We only needed a job to be done. The NDC has failed to create or implement their 24-hour economy, which NPP can use that as a message with Dr. Kennedy Agyapong on the ballot as the job creator with clear evidence in his private life. This is the message to the youth. You cannot get enough of we cannot get enough. We are tired and we are voting for Ken for 2028. And lastly, from Mowusu Marvin, he says, you want me to abandon a candidate who, in spite of all the challenges faced by being incumbent, managed to get 41.7% for a candidate who I have seen nothing concrete at their end. We will still maintain DMB for him to fight for the remainder of the winning percentage. So just like I said, a very great battle between the Kens and the Bawumias in the comment section. Back to you, Paul.
I have one here saying that I'm disappointed about his submissions about Dr. Bawumia. Paul, are you convinced Ken can bring people together? Your guest is disappointing. Ken can never be better than Bawumia. Ken is guilty of comments that we can't use. What new song is Ken singing? Apu, I can't see any new song there. He can express his negative sentiments about Bawumia, but tell him that Bawumia will be elected by the delegates. Wow, it's getting heated on my phone as well. Okay, a correction for me. That's important for you, Atta. Minister Siama says that, Ofure Siama says that, it's reminding me that Nana Addo's debut was less than Kufuor had in the last election, because I was talking about Bawumia getting less than the MPP got in the last election. He's saying that's happened before, because Kufuor won the 2004 election with a 52%, I think. So Nana Addo coming in 2008 at 49 was lower than. So, but somebody will still say that's just 2-3 percentage points. This one is huge, you know. But again, your argument comes in that check the circumstance and see what was happening in Ghana at the time. I see. Atta has clearly distinguished between Ken and what he did and what Bawumia was allowed to do. Ken Ofori-Atta, he means. And what he did and what Bawumia was allowed to do. 2 scorecards for 2 people, and Bawumia's scorecard looks good and better. Wow. It's interesting. So let's come to some of those who pour some of these statistics that it was expected that Mahamadou Bawumia would get Muslim votes. He didn't get Muslim votes. It was expected that he would get Zongo votes. He didn't get Zongo votes. Even the votes that we get, people didn't come and vote because they don't like him.
Well, I'm hearing all these things, but it seems to me that the data is showing that he got Muslims votes.
Better than MPP had been getting.
That is so. This is what is on the record.
That's interesting. And
we're going to roll it out for people to see. Now, if it was all Christian votes, this is what I have to tell you. I found this very interesting. In the elections, we had 276 constituencies. And then we fielded 236 Christian parliamentary candidates. And look at what we got.
Say that again. In the election?
In the elections. The last elections.
Yeah.
We had 276 constituencies. And then MPP fielded 236 Christian parliamentary candidates. So therefore, what are you talking about?
So a lot of our Christian parliamentary candidates also did not win.
So it was not a Christian factor, my dear brother and friend. And it was not, what's it called, the fact that he was a Muslim. There was an...
So there, you don't see that there are some Christians who normally will vote for the MPP but did not because the MPP had presented a Muslim candidate. You don't think there were any such people?
There's none of the, the individuals and also even the think tanks that investigated the results of the last election that said there were factors of religion and tribe that brought us to where we were. They were talking about the serious economic downturn and the pain of the MPP people that they felt like they were in opposition. And I don't want to say so many things. So it was not a judgment on Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. So when he plays on this metaphor, Monfa steer no mami, that is a lot of things people should chew on. Because he's so decent, he doesn't want to push too many things. I have never been in charge. If you want to check me out, I'll be the first economist to become the president. And when I'm in charge, you'll see the difference.
But if you can be in charge and it's great, it will be great or it will be fantastic. How can you be just number 2? You're not number 7, you're not number 10, you're 2, next in charge. You could not influence this catastrophe in any way so that it tumbled from 1,000 to 0 and we should put you in charge so we rise back to 1,000.
Do you know the personality of Akufo-Addo?
You are number 2.
Do you know the personality of Akufo-Addo? 4.
By that you mean whether he's a choleric or something like that?
Whether Akufo-Addo is a pushover.
Pushover?
Yes. Pushover
is a weakness.
Yes, he's not. Akufo-Addo is not a pushover. Akufo-Addo was firmly in charge.
So Bawumia needed a weakness to then show his credibility and everything.
So it will be very foul in politics to have a head-on collusion. Because if the 90 members of parliament could not persuade Akufo-Addo to change his mind relating to Ken Ofori-Atta, it's a cruel argument to say that, Bawumia should have taken over what Akufo-Addo was doing and should have been the president. What is the meaning of a vice president? The one who offers you assistance. If you don't want the assistance, that's the end of the matter. It's as simple as that. You can.
So why do we give Bawumia credit for 2018, 2019 free SHS implementation, the digitalization?
The space he gave him, he performed. That's what.
So that Akufo-Addo didn't ask Bawumia to work on the economy.
Goodness me.
Never did.
Was Bawumia behind the bond issues and touching people's pension fund and the rest of it?
We don't know, but you're saying...
You know. It was Ken who did all these things.
Yeah, Ken was the lead minister. Ken was the lead minister.
No. Was Bawumia responsible for the cathedral matters?
No, not all. Zero.
So please.
He wasn't. But Bawumia was accompanying Ken to find budget, to read the budget to Parliament.
When they gave him the space to assist, the vice president is supposed to assist. If the president doesn't want his assistance, that's the end of the matter. You can't do anything about it.
And you are saying Bawumia didn't complain because he's a gentleman and he's loyal to the party.
And also he loved Ghana. He didn't want an implosion. People should bear that in mind. And he's a servant leader. He's been called to serve to the extent that President Akufo-Addo gave him the space to serve. If President Akufo-Addo said, look, I don't want you to go into this area. My cousin is in charge. It would be cruel for you to say that, the vice president was the president. It's illogical. Very, very.
Would you say that every cabinet member of Akufo-Addo's government and inner circle people will attest to what you're saying?
Of course.
Are you sure?
Yes, those who were on bended knees for budgetary releases. People used to come and compare about ministers who didn't perform in Akufo-Addo's time and laugh to scorn. My brother, you could have the most seminar of ideas. It will end at Ken's table. That's the end of the matter. He decides the releases. The budget has been approved, all right. But do you understand the releases? And if you say that, Atta's whole remit is to be in the area of drainage, and I shouldn't build houses. I mean, would it be fair for anybody to say Atta he could not roll out affordable housing units during this time, as if the money was in my pocket, and I was so terrible that I didn't want Ghanaians to have places of abode? Let's come off some of these, cruel and banal.
But you also have to cut the finance minister some slack, because yes, every finance minister in Ghana who has a amount of money and needs that are more than the money. that finance minister will have to make a decision, wouldn't he? Case Akufo-Addo is going through that already. We are hearing that he's becoming unpopular among ministers. So Atta is the one who's been charged with looking at the budget and determining priorities of what has to be done. Some of the things that he may do will come as a result of accidents, not more this, not more that, and so he has to pay money. So we really have to give the finance minister.
Do you know, let me use myself as an example. When they said affordable housing will just swell the national debt if you go into affordable housing, because that's a huge capital outlay. I moved on to off-takers agreement, which is to say, get a credible investor, let him roll the houses, and if the government cannot buy the houses, he will sell the houses to, the general public. And we can even leverage on the pensions fund, and then people will have houses, and then the mortgage arrangement will be for a long time. It was shut down. So please.
Why not? It was shut down, but why not? If they looked at it, they have been charged with the responsibility to do these things. They look at it and say,
I want to defeat your argument that is always about how small the kitty is. But the off-takers agreement does not affect the kitty.
Oh, I get the point. That this has nothing to do with bringing out money from Atta.
Yes,
so why did you need them? Why did you need them?
Sorry?
Why did you need them if it has nothing to do with... Oh, to sign the agreement?
Of course. You need the backing of the government.
Yeah.
That, look, we want to go off-taker arrangements, so the private sector will roll the houses. If we are unable to buy as a government, they will sell it to the general public.
But if they are unable to sell, they want an agreement that comes back to the government to pay.
No,
Sure
because their equity is in the houses.
Yes, but they want to sell them.
Yes, but if they are unable to sell, the equity still remains in the houses. That it will be sold over time, depending on the mortgage arrangement you create. So people will not have good money with them to buy upfront, but they could pay over time, leveraging of the pension fund. And if
it is the leveraging of the pension fund, that's a critical decision for the finance minister.
Well, I'm afraid,
and he may make it against housing and in favor of free SHS.
Well, let me tell you the gospel truth. That there was no realm in the entire world in which affordable housing was rolled out and the government, went into a deficit, because it is the really important dimension that is called real estate. The value.
And it grows every year.
It grows every year. And nobody can put it in his pocket.
So you can't go to real estate and lose. Yeah.
You can't go to real estate and lose. So I'm ministering to you that sometimes you think that it is a minister who is failing, or it's the vice president who is failing, but the one who should give the approvals is even scared about some of the programs. So this is what it is.
So what is then the guarantee that Mahamudu Bawumia becomes president and will not do the same thing Akufo-Addo did, bring some finance minister in who can create this kind of crisis?
Well, because he will understand the situation more than whoever the finance minister is. And when the finance minister is being wayward and is not, pushing the government's program, he's the one to checkmate him and even, direct him as to what should be done. You see, when they bring the budget to Parliament, as I intimated earlier on, it is under the authority of the president.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was not an economist. This is the glory of Ghana. This is the first time you're going to have economists in the saddle. What is the economic management team going to do that Bawumia does not understand already? Now, even people are talking about how, NDC is leveraging on his ideas. And at Full Throttle, they are talking about, we buying gold and, the foreign exchange situation is better. So guess what? It's not a factory we are talking about. If you have a couple of factories, that does not qualify as a president. But you have large ideas. Humongous ideas.
But if you don't have large ideas, you can't put factories up.
Oh, goodness me. You have 3 factories.
Yeah, you need large ideas to put up.
And you have a factory.
Yeah.
And you have a hotel. That is a qualification of becoming a president of the country.
No, I don't know. I'm not saying.
Goodness me. That's a poor judgment of who is really, really, really
But
prepared.
at least it shows a man who has been able to put up some edifice, some infrastructure.
Let me tell you that
it's different from a man who's been sitting in an office and churning out ideas.
If you want to see leadership, Dr. Nkrumah did not own a factory, but Kosomo Dam because of good ideas. So when you service a small need, it doesn't mean that you can service the larger need of the people. What was the pocket size of Kwame Nkrumah? You have people who are in the primaries bragging about their financial. I laugh at that. How much money did Nkrumah have?
Or even Dankwa.
Or even Dankwa. You know,
Buzia.
And the Buzia. And look at what I heard that was very funny. You know, a gentleman called Pa Grant. He was the money bag of our tradition.
Yes.
Nevertheless, they didn't see money as everything. They said that the one who has leadership power, the intellectual ability, and the vision to lead our group was the one who had less money than the money man. So we shouldn't gamble with what is going on.
Somebody will say,
yes,
but this is why we are where we are.
Are you sure?
So we should have a new direction.
What is the new direction?
Something different. Something like what Bawumia represented in 2016.
The lottery of going to start at a zero.
I can agree with that.
The people who have not been marketed. The people that...
That's a good point.
The people that have not, assessed their personality. Let me give you one example. There's somebody who is my very good friend. But the person was in government and he said, for all the powers I willed, I'll go and buy national hotels. And that was in the wake of the election. And see the anger of the trade unions. How do you explain that? You understand? Somebody shouting also that...
You are referring to Brian Achampong's case of...
And we won't give you the presidency. And those kind of, excuse me to say, you know... So people should mature. It's with time. I'm not saying that they can't be president. They should grow into the presidency. They should peak into the presidency. As Bawumia has seen it all. Who has seen it all more than Bawumia? Who has the competencies of governance more than Bawumia? Talk about it. But I don't see how you can use your 3 factories to compare with Bawumia's intellectual capital and governmental experience. That is embarrassing. You could shout on your factory workers, but as we are here now, you can't be shouting on Ghanaians for results. I felt that you want somebody who's bold. I said, look, you're saying that shouting tantamounts to boldness? What a poor logic. When a man is shouting and a man is angry, then it means he's a brave man. Even the braver man, Jerry John Rawlings, he came under the governance of the Constitution. He brought his emotional turmoil. He had plenty emotional turmoil, my former client, and came under the governance of the Bible of God, the Constitution. So there's a very civilized way of running a government. And it's not this, insulting behaviors, chubu mentality, trying to flaunt your factory or flaunting your hotel and the rest of it.
Somebody will say again that Atta,
yes,
this is why we are where we are.
Well,
because of all this is how to run a country. You don't shout on a country. This is why we are where we are, and America is where it is.
I don't think any Ghanaian prayed for COVID.
No, nobody.
Goodness me. And then the whole of the economy of the world via COVID, dwindled by 3%. The data is there.
That's significant.
Why do we forget easily? The many rivers Akufo-Addo had to cross, and by extension Ghanaians, and the pain of what you went through. He said, look, let's have this cruel argument. We want to win at all costs and let Bawumia carry the burdens of the world so we look good. You has not been tried and tested. You cannot even package a good, legal document to buy a factory, to a hotel.
He's not a lawyer.
Well, that makes it worse for him then. Why didn't he hire one? Because you are a minister. And when a minister is around, excuse me to say, you are under public scrutiny. So that audacity that is going to buy, hotels. It was not part of our laws. And people were chewing on it. It was a serious matter. If you care to know, it dominated the electoral space for a long time. Say, let Bawumia be the carrier of all these things, so we look good. That's most embarrassing. It's not an argument they should make. But let me see who compares with him in terms of the indexes I've given you. His international appeal.
Let's take a final round of text messages and then we'll be wrapping up on this program. Atta is very articulate for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Ella, what are people saying?
People still seem to be having very divisive views on who to vote for and who not to vote for. Kwame says, Akyea whether Edu Boahen, Kufuor and Nana Addo in their first attempt had insiders campaign against them. Kwame Sapon also says the government generally lost touch with the people in 2024 because of Ken Ofori-Atta, the cathedral, and the promiscuity of appointees. The great propaganda about the president traveling on expensive plane. All these things did bring the MPP down. Also from Master Planner, he says, Lawyer Bafo is a top-notch lawyer. I really admire him, but I wish he disconnected DMB all the way, number 3 on the ballot. Again, also from Jonathan, he said, Paul, could you please ask Atta to actually give us facts instead of just his opinions? Interesting. This one also says, I think Atta is saying the truth, and it is obvious Ken Ofori-Atta has opposed the gold for oil. This is because I listened to Bawumia carefully, and in giving praises to the team that brought out the policy, he never mentioned Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. The realities are definitely clear. Honorable Atta gets sense. I want to listen to him all night. This one is from Nana Osei. And lastly from Eric Ebu, he says, is Atta confirming that DMB was only an assistant? Then we are sorry. We cannot entrust Ghana to his care because he has no human management or administrative experience. Interesting take on that. Back to you, Paul.
That's very interesting.
Okay. He doesn't understand who a vice president is under the constitution. There's only one president, I'm afraid. And if you want to survey the constitution and say that immediately become the vice president, push aside the president and probably his minister for finance, and then begin to run the nation. That is a glorified coup d'etat. And you stop talking about those things. I mean, it doesn't sit well with the tenets of our democracy and the constitution. Bawumia was never the president. If you gave him the chance, that thing is said, people do not understand it. It means that when I'm in charge, you will see a difference. And the difference is right staring at us in the face. We shouldn't gamble and look at these individuals.
So your word to delegates is that elect Bawumia number 3 on the ballot?
Without apology. And I'm saying that it's even divine. We have God the Father, who is also God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. They've placed him at number 3. It's divine. That this man should be rewarded with that position for Ghana to take the benefit. He's so loaded a man that we can't just see him and gamble with people who are not trying to even manage their emotions. It's too expensive.
If Bawumia doesn't win, what's Atta going to do, say, and what will be it?
Well, perish the thought. If he doesn't win, I'm still MPP. I'm not going anywhere. And what I have to do to get whoever the flag bearer to try his very best, as we all rally behind the person, to boot out NDC.